As you read nonfiction text, it is important to always be thinking about what the text says. To begin, consider the title and the topic of the text. Take a few seconds to brainstorm what you already know or what you think you know about the topic of what you're reading. As you begin to read, be on the lookout for information that challenges, changes, or confirms your thinking about the topic of the text. This is always an excellent strategy to use while reading nonfiction text. I'm guessing that many of your teachers probably ask you to take some notes over the text or have short discussions about the nonfiction text that you're expected to read for class. It's important to focus our thinking on the text we're reading and be on the lookout for information that brings questions to our mind as we read. Something all readers can be on the lookout for is information that challenges, changes, or confirms our thinking. Once you identify the title and topic of the text you're reading, it is important to begin thinking about what you already know about the topic. For example, if I'm reading a text titled, "Crickets are tipped to replace kale, acai, blueberries as mainstream superfoods in 2022, I immediately start thinking about the crickets that I hear outside my window every evening in late summer. I can remember one night a cricket had gotten trapped in my house and was making such a racket that it kept me awake for hours. I tried finding it in hopes of catching it and releasing it back outside, but no matter how hard I tried, it escaped each time. I also remember a friend I had in high school that had a pet snake. My friend would often make trips to the pet store to buy a container of crickets to feed her snake. A few years ago, I used to love the show Fear Factor, but I got totally grossed out in one episode where the contestants had to eat crickets. I'll be honest, that was a bit disgusting. As I begin reading the article, I'm a bit shocked when I read this part. It says, 80% of the world's population already eat insects as a part of their everyday diet. Crickets may be gaining a reputation as one of the world's most sustainable food sources. But did you know that they can also improve your health? These edible insects are incredibly good for us, containing a variety of nutrients that our bodies need to stay strong and healthy. Read on to find out why crickets are widely considered the superfood of the future. I find this very surprising. 80% of the world's population already eat insects as part of their diet? At first, I thought crickets and other insects were something that were only to be eaten by reptiles like snakes, or in a crazy show like Fear Factor. But this article makes me realize that over half of the world consumes them as part of their daily eating habits. I guess I should rethink the importance of insects in our lives. This is an example of how a reader's thinking is challenged or changed by what they read in a text. Whenever a reader finds themselves thinking, "At first I thought, but then I learned," or "I had to rethink," or "I was wrong about," then the reader knows that their thinking has changed from what it originally was from the beginning of the text. The reader of this text could phrase their thinking like this. At first, I thought crickets were not something people should eat because they're bugs. But then I learned that they are actually very nutritious and are considered a superfood. Or, I had to rethink how I feel about crickets. I thought they were just annoying insects that make noise during the summer, but now I've learned that they are actually a nutritious food source for many people in our world. Or, although I still don't like many insects, now I can appreciate them a bit more since they are an important food source for many people. Maybe you already knew how nutritious crickets are, and this article confirmed your thinking. Sometimes we have ideas or thoughts about a topic and find that as we read, our thinking is proven to be right, and now we have some evidence to support our thinking. Remember, one of the main reasons why we read nonfiction text is to learn something new. Learning is more than just memorizing. It involves changing the way we think about an issue or an idea. We can change our thinking in several ways. We can confirm what we already thought, or we can modify our thinking, which means change it just slightly. or we can change our minds completely. When you have opportunities to take notes or discuss nonfiction text, be mindful of information that changes, challenges, or confirms your thinking about the topic. You can easily annotate the text when you find this information and jot down a few notes in the margins or in your notebook about how this information changes or modifies your thinking. This information also makes a great discussion point in small group or class discussions.